Hi there, and thank you for joining me for part 2 of the 3-part video course on how to create a kick-ass marketing plan that really works. Now, I know in the last video we covered a lot of ground, but this video and the next video and all the things I'm going to share in those 2 sections are not going to be nearly as effective if you don't get that groundwork that you did and we went through in video 1 down pat, or at least get nearly all of it in place. So remember, you need to do your ABC, your audience, your boast, your channel. You need to get clarity in what it is you're trying to say to people. You need to be in the right places where your audience goes, and then you need to make sure that you're hitting the right audience to sell what it is you do to help them in some way, shape or form. But before we get cracking into part 2, I just want to invite you to check us out on social media. We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, and we also have a podcast. So if you find the links close by, we'll share them with you, not a problem. But it'd be great to have you on board as a follower. We create a lot of content, a podcast once a week, video once a week, sometimes twice a week. We're in the process of interviewing a lot of self-employed people who share their secrets for being self-employed and staying successfully self-employed as well. So all useful stuff designed to help you do better in your self-employed life. So part 2 is where your actual plan begins to take shape. And this one won't be as long as the last one, I promise you. It's relatively straightforward. Once you understand all the stuff from part 1, particularly your ABC, then you can get a grip on what it is that the activities that you can put into place to start reaching your target audience. And then this comes back down to making sure you know what you're going to say and the channels. And it's the channels now that we're going to start to work on. Now, I hate to say it, and I'm never ever going to overemphasize this. Once you need to understand your audience, because what we're going to do now depends on you understanding your audience. Because here's where we start to look at the activities that you're going to get involved in to be in the right channel with the right boast for the audience. Okay, so have a think about that. So first things first, we need to create a list of channels or marketing activities that you can do. What I'd like you to do, just get a piece of paper and write it all down, preferably by hand. And the reason I say by hand is because you are more likely to remember stuff if you're writing it by hand than if you are typing it into a document, for example. So write it by hand. There's nothing to stop you from creating the list either way, but I'm telling you from a memory point of view and from an action point of view, writing it physically by hand makes a massive difference. So I want you to write down all the things that you can do and would like to do in your marketing. Now that could be social media. Pretty much a given. That could be video marketing. We love video marketing. It could be email marketing. You should definitely be doing some email. It could be paid ads, whether that's on Facebook, on Google, or other channels. It could be going to networking events, but making sure that if you go to networking events, you're putting all that data into your database and contacting people. It could be remarketing. In other words, selling to people who have already bought from you. It could be writing blog posts. And there's absolutely loads of things you can do to promote your business, and that's just a few. But I need you to write a list, as long as you can possibly, all the things that you think you could do and would like to do to reach your target audience through the channels which are appropriate to them. Now the thing is, one of the things I would say is this marketing plan that we're creating is not written in stone. In other words, it's malleable. It can change, and it should change over time. Once you've written it, it should never, ever stay the same, because once you get rolling, you'll realise that some things are easier than others and you perhaps do some more of them, or you enjoy them more. Nothing wrong with that. Or when you go back into monitoring the success of your channels and the activities that you're doing, you think, well, actually, things aren't working so well. We can either change them or we can ditch them in favour of something else. And there's nothing wrong with that. The key thing with this is to chip away at the failures to make them more successful. If something isn't working, either change it or scrap it. But you should always be looking to improve. And this is where the rubber begins to hit the road, because this is where you start to actually put together your activities. So once you have that list, and I hope it's a long one, you need to have a look at how many different things you're doing. Now, the reason I say count them up, because what I found in my experience, in the experience of our clients and the people we know, is that it's nearly impossible to do more than around about 10 different marketing activities. Now, don't get me wrong, you're not going to be doing all at the same time, all on the same day, but it's very hard to get your head around doing this massive, massive number of marketing activities. So the idea is to try and target 10 of the ones most likely to reach your target audience. And some of that will come back to trial and error. You won't know instantly what works and what doesn't. Some things are going to be fairly self-explanatory, and there are some things like blogging and video marketing which are slow burners but incredibly important. So the key thing is just to have them on the list so you can start to write your plan. So you've got your list. Hopefully it's less than a dozen. I'm hoping it's more than 5 or 6. Okay, that's great. So what do we do now? Well, what I'd like you to do is to get a piece of paper and draw on it 4 different quadrants. One line down the middle, one across the middle, both horizontal and vertical. Create 4 quadrants. Now I've got a piece of paper. Here's one we made earlier. And I've got on here, what I want you to do is divide into 4 and write weekly, daily, quarterly, monthly. And this is where you're going to start putting your marketing activities that you've just written down onto this list into here. Now, first things first. The one thing you should put in there quarterly is writing up a targeted marketing plan. Have a plan of action or a campaign style thing, and we'll cover that in another video where quarterly campaigns can actually be very effective. But you should always have some kind of quarterly campaign. In the lead up to Christmas, for example, if you sell retail that appeals to people who buy stuff for Christmas, then that's going to be a campaign. October, November, December is going to be your Christmas campaign. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's a fairly obvious one. You could have one leading up to Easter or to Midsummer or to Halloween. They're all campaigns and I need to give them thought. So think about writing stuff into quarterly. In terms of daily, you're going to put stuff there like your social media, putting stuff out onto Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whichever social media you prefer. More importantly, where your audience hangs out, not just because everybody else is doing it, but more importantly, where your audience is. It's pointless being on the latest, hottest social media if your audience simply doesn't go there. Promise you, you'll be wasting your time and effort. So put on there daily. And that daily is pretty much social media. And also having a quick look once a week at your social media stats. So social media every day. Now there are other things you can put in there, etc. But social media is pretty much just about the only thing you could legitimately do every single day. Now I use a software called Hootsuite, which enables me to schedule out social media posts for the week. I also use a plugin to the Smashing Self-Employment website, which automatically sends out links to our content, blog post content, to our Twitter and our Facebook accounts. So that's kind of automated there. Handy thing to have if you're getting into blogging, to use the software. I think it's called Revival Posts. It's free if you've got a WordPress website, that is, and it will automatically tweet out your old blog posts, which is brilliant because it gets you that social connection to go with it. But we use a software called Hootsuite. Like I said, Hootsuite is brilliant for sharing out your social media, and I'm going to cover that in another video, so keep tabs on our YouTube channel showing you how to use Hootsuite to schedule your social media and to use the social media far more effectively. So daily, pretty much social media. Now weekly, this is when it starts to get a little bit more in-depth. Weekly is things like content. Now, blogging should be a weekly activity. If your website needs to be found in the search engines, you need to be writing blog posts, and I will cover that on a different video. Blogging, every single week, at least once a week, more than 600 words. It sounds like a lot, but there's loads of ways of making it more efficient that we don't have time to go into now. Also, if you are going to create videos, do video marketing, again, video blogging is fantastic. Podcasting, again, is brilliant. Email, you should be sending an email out every week. 1 week, send something out to your current customers, and then another week, send something out to your possible customers or your prospects. So every week you're sending out some kind of email. You could go to a weekly networking event if you sell B2B, and that counts as well. But remember, follow-up is key. You could do a weekly sales session where you're hitting the phones. It could be a Monday morning or Tuesday morning. Every Tuesday morning you get on the phone and make cold calls. But put it in here. Put it in here. All the things that you can do on a weekly basis. So we've got daily stuff here, weekly stuff here. Monthly. Now, monthly is all about reviewing. And you should never ever leave your results checking to quarterly. It's way too long. And to be honest, every couple of weeks. Monthly should be every couple of weeks, really, for a lot of the monitoring stuff. And monitoring is all about checking your stats. All about whether you're getting a great deal of reach with your email marketing, for example. All about checking your Google Analytics to see if your website's performing. All about checking any kind of Facebook ads you're running to make sure that they're doing what they need to do. If you are running Facebook ads, they need to be checked weekly. You need to check the stats weekly, and you need to tweak if necessary, or if it's doing really well, scale it up. But it needs to be done very regularly. Don't leave that till monthly. The monthly is all about review and plan. So here what you're looking to do is aim and then fire. Re-aim and fire your marketing. One thing I would say, things like blogging and things like content marketing, podcasting and stuff like that are absolutely brilliant. And we do them. We're incredibly big fans of these kind of things. But the thing is, they are slow burners. They're great for building credibility, but they rarely get really, really fast results. The only way to get really fast results is through email marketing and through paid ads. But email marketing, if you're fairly young in business, depends on having a database to reach. So the key thing is this: start to micro-plan your review and micro-plan every single month. And there will be marketing activities in here that you can do. In theory, you could schedule your weekly emails once a month. Most email softwares like MailChimp and Sendinblue, we use Sendinblue, and Constant Contact and ActiveCampaign, all those stuff, they will enable you to schedule emails going out. Okay. You also could look at offers. Is there an offer you can come up to do on a monthly basis? Halloween, for example, you don't necessarily want to promote Halloween 2.5 months early. So it could well be that towards the month leading up to Halloween, that's when you start doing the activities around Halloween. And then quarterly is all about planning and review. This is where you take a detailed look at what happened, what worked, what didn't, what went well, what got the best results, etc., and then begin to think about the next quarter's campaign. Now, this, of course, depends on your business type. We're in the business of selling content to the self-employed community, and that's fine. Our community, our target market, is a business audience. If you run a hairdressing salon, for example, or you're a mobile hairdresser, some of these things will be a little more challenging. Yes, you'll be doing social media on a once a week. Yes, you might be putting out emails, blogging, video marketing. In all honesty, for salons, video marketing is fantastic. The how-tos and the behind-the-scenes stuff works an absolute treat. But some of the things I've just gone through will not be appropriate. So you pick the things, and it comes back to the list you wrote at the beginning. What's your list? What's on there? What activities do you want to do? And then you need to put them into here. But always, once a quarter, plan out your next quarter's marketing. Always, always, always. And put it in your diary. If necessary, take a few hours out of the office or the home, away from the kitchen table. Go and sit somewhere away from your usual workplace. Leave the phone off and think, work, plan and review. Okay, this needs to be done every quarter. Now, that might sound very, very simplistic, and in the next video we're going to go through putting this into an actual plan to start to get stuff done. So this is where you actually start to plan, this is where you actually start to schedule out the activities that you're going to do, based on the channels that you worked out in video 1, and then based on that list that you've just created earlier of all the activities that you want to do in your marketing. But I would say, as I said in video 1, review regularly. Monthly you should be checking results, quarterly you should be planning. Okay. And also, you know, the great thing about quarterlies, if you take some time out, you can plan your blogging, you can plan your videos, you can plan a social media campaign, you can plan all kinds of wonderful things. You can plan a series of podcasts, for example, or around a single topic. And you can really have some fun with this. But the key thing is to write it down. Now, you don't have to put it on this. You could do it electronically, but I found this to be the most effective way of doing things. I write on this, handwrite on this, and put it on a wall where I can see it on a regular basis. Seems daft, and perhaps to some it seems a little old-fashioned, bearing in mind that I've worked in the technology industry for most of my life. But I find this manual approach works well for me. So you choose the approach that works for you. You choose the methods and techniques that work for you. But more importantly, when you come to writing that list and putting them on on those 4 quadrants, make sure you're applying it, you're targeting the channels that your audience is actually in. Okay, so we've covered a fair bit there, and I know that there's 2 parts to this. You need to write that list of marketing activities, the things that you want to do. In video 1, hopefully you will have worked out the channels that you need to be in and the things that you can do, and now you're putting them in a list, and then you're beginning to put them into some kind of action plan for when you're going to do them. Weekly blogging, weekly videos, weekly podcasts, weekly emails, daily social media, regular networking, going to events, for example. There are all sorts of industry events. That's a fantastic marketing opportunity, and we'll cover that elsewhere. But there really is loads and loads of stuff that you can do. But that's it for this one. Remember to check us out on our social media channels. If you've got any comments, please let us know. help@smashingselfemployment.com. We're more than happy to try and assist if you need further support. But that's enough for this. Next time we're going to put those 4 quadrants into something more specific about what you're doing and when, so you can really then write your plan, know what you're going to do, you can plan your work your plan, and get fantastic results from your marketing. So that's enough from me for now. See you soon.